So the new Mandalorian episode, we saw the return of Moff Gideon, and I thought this episode was definitely the greatest of the season so far. Definitely by far as well. There was just so much action, and this definitely should have taken place a lot before in this season. With everything going on with season 3 at the moment, we haven't had the best season of the Mandalorian compared to season 2 and season 1. But I thought this episode was great, and I think the finale is going to be even better. I think the finale is going to be really good, and I can't wait till next week to watch it. But we got a lot in this episode. I've already made a video about it. With the Shadow Council. But one other thing that stood out to me was Moff Gideon at the end when he spoke to Bo-Katan and the other Mandalorians with his army. The armor he wore, the Mandalorian armor he wore, it looked really cool. It looks awesome. I really like the design and the look of it. But one thing that stands out on it is the horns that he has on his helmet. He has. We've seen the same with the armorer. She has the same horns on her helmet as well. And the only thing that I can think of in Star Wars that links to is Maul. The Mandalorians. The people that follow Maul, and there probably is still people out there that follow Maul. With the rumors that the armorer could be Rook Kask, who was a follower of Maul during the Clone Wars, and I think that could be a really cool theory if it does come true. But I think that Moff Gideon could be a follower of Maul. He is a rightful leader to Mandalore. Moff Gideon won the Darksaber against Bo-Katan. And also, obviously, we saw in the Clone Wars arc, Maul was obviously the leader of Mandalore for a while when he got the Darksaber. So they're both leaders. Maybe Moff Gideon followed his ideals and what Maul did as a leader for Mandalore. Because, Maul was an outsider. He wasn't a Mandalorian. And neither was Moff Gideon. Well, as we know so far, Moff Gideon isn't a Mandalorian. Maybe we'll find out in the finale that he is. But he doesn't... The way he speaks about Mandalorians, he doesn't speak about them as his own, sort of people. He speaks them as people that he wants to take out. And that's just the same with Maul. He wanted to take out all the people in Mandalore who opposed him, and only wanted Mandalorians that would follow him, and that's what we got in the Mandalorian with Gar Saxon and Rook Kask and all the other Mandalorians that followed Maul with Death Watch and stuff like that. But Death Watch was pretty obvious because they were a violent, sect of Mandalorians anyway, so that was obvious that they would follow Maul in the Clone Wars. But, there is a lot of similarities, I guess, between Maul and Moff Gideon's leading Mandalore. I can imagine that there are a lot of Mandalorians that followed Moff Gideon because of his violent ways with the Empire. I can't imagine the Mandalorians would be happy with the Empire destroying Mandalore, but I mean, him winning the Darksaber, they would really have no choice to follow him because he would be the rightful leader of Mandalore. The rules of the Darksaber in Star Wars at the moment are really confusing. It changes every time. Bo-Katan has been given the Darksaber twice, but I guess that's a thing for a different video. But yeah, I really like the look of Moff Gideon's Mandalorian armor. I think it looks really cool, and it does point out a lot of things. This episode was called Spies, and we did see that there could be a lot of candidates who could be spies. There's rumors going around and theories that the armorer could be a spy, and if she is Rook Kask, then I can imagine that she might be a spy for Moff Gideon, being loyal to Maul, but I don't think that would work out. I think Axe Wolves could definitely be a spy. He does seem very suspicious, and they were guns for hire. As we learned, the Night Wolves to turn into I guess guns for hire. They would, and maybe they broke out Moff Gideon, because we don't know how Moff Gideon broke out yet. We saw he broke out, but we don't know how. I can't imagine that he broke out by himself. So someone must have been there to help him get out, and the Mandalorians would be the perfect people, and especially those Axe Wolves' Mandalorian, because they have an Empire ship. They definitely seem like they would be able to break out Moff Gideon if Moff Gideon gave them credits, and they could be loyal to him because of his ways when he ruled Mandalore, when he owned the Darksaber. But we'll have to wait and see in the finale. We'll find out if Moff Gideon did take ideas from Maul, or if the armorer takes ideas off of Maul, and maybe if the armorer and Moff Gideon are working together for Moff Gideon and Thrawn's big plans that I'm imagining we're going to see Thrawn in the finale, as we saw Thrawn in the Ahsoka trailer. So it'll be pretty cool to see him show up in The Mandalorian, then teasing his return in Ahsoka with obviously Ezra Bridger and all the other Rebels live action in Ahsoka, which I can't wait to see. But yeah, I think that this is a really cool theory. Moff Gideon, I can't see him being a Mandalorian. I just don't think it really makes sense for him to be a Mandalorian the way he speaks about them, unless they did something to him that caused him to be an outsider and for him to leave the Mandalorians. But either way, I don't see him turning out to be a Mandalorian who was from Mandalore. I just think, you know, he works for the Empire and he ruled Mandalore at one time, you know, when he won the Darksaber from Bo-Katan. So I think it makes sense that he ruled Mandalore and took ideas when Maul ruled Mandalore, because I think that would make a lot of sense, because they are two, you know, very aggressive people when it comes to who they are and who they work for with the Empire. So I think it makes sense for him to take Maul's following and his ideas from when he was leader of Mandalore. I think that would make a lot of sense. But yeah, tell me what you guys think of his armor and the theories that are going around. Do you think the armor is a spy and is is loyal to Maul? And do you think Moff Gideon is loyal to Maul? I hope you enjoyed today's video, and may the Force be with you.